Hello, everyone. In this episode and the next one, you are going to hear from Jake Stone. He is the co-host of Haley's podcast, the Horror Comedy Potcast, THC podcast. Normally, this is the time where I would let the guest tell you about themselves. But I fucked up when we recorded the interview, and I forgot to hit record for the first 5 or 10 minutes. Yes, I am an idiot. We all know this. But not to fear, you didn't miss much because Jake was luckily recording on his end the whole time. So first, we are going to hear him talk a bit about their podcast, and then with the magic of re-recording and editing, we will seamlessly go into his history with weed and then the rest of the interview.
So our podcast is pretty much, kind of how it sounds. It's the Horror Comedy Potcast, a little spin-off of, THC. Haley pretty much tries to scare me. Okay, I do not do well with scary things. I don't like ghosts. I don't like haunted objects. I don't like true crime. So she will tell me a story that she finds, and I say I'm not scared, but I get pretty scared. And then we just smoke a bunch of weed.
So tell me about the first time you got high.
So the first time I ever got high, I was actually, I'm originally from Minnesota, but I'd moved to Colorado for school and stuff like that. So I was at my friend's house, and this was, I don't know, during Call of Duty Black Ops 2 or Black Ops 1, I believe. And we were playing zombies. And my friends, they're from California, so they've been exposed to weed, much longer than I have. And they're like, hey, do you want to hit this? And I was like, what is it? And he pulls out this pomegranate bottle that he has rigged into some sort of hookah smoking contraption, okay? When I first saw it, I was like, yo, are we, what are we doing, bro? Like I'm just this innocent little Midwestern kid. And I was like, okay, well, I'm down. I ain't no square. So I ripped that hookah for as long as I could. And I just remember feeling, I was like super warm. And then all of a sudden I look at start to play zombies again. And that's when it really hits me. I'm stoned to the bone. And they're all like, hey, yo, come revive me. Come revive me. And I'm literally just sitting in one little spot on the map, looking down at my feet, spinning in circles. And I'm just like, bro, where are you? And just like, from then on, it was a wrap. Like, I knew that, cannabis was going to be a big part of my life after that. Because it was a great time. And, that feeling you get when, everything's right and you're with your friends and it's just a great atmosphere. I think it really like enhanced my high, and I was just floating off those good vibes we were having. And it was actually Blue Dream was the first strain that I'd ever smoked. So
okay.
I had a very good relationship with Blue Dream.
Did you say how old you were? I can't remember.
Yeah, I was about like 19
okay.
or 20 or something like that. Yeah, I wasn't exactly 18 because I moved out to Colorado when I was 18, and I'd held off, a little while. But then I think I was about 20 when it was the first time I ever smoked weed. The first time I ever saw weed I was 18, and these guys in high school were passing around a soda can with weed crumpled up on it, and I was like, you guys are fucking ridiculous. Like, I'm not hitting that.
And then a couple years later, everything changed.
Yes, and I've actually smoked out of pop cans many a times now. So.
Oh, sure. Now I think you can even buy like ceramic bowls that look like the cans that people used to make in high school or whatever, that are sort of crushed down with like the holes punched in them, but they're like actual like made out of ceramic or something like that. It's very cool.
I feel like that's probably a better way to go, just because you're not smoking the
metal,
the tin, the metal, yeah. the graphic that's wrapped on there.
Right. Yeah, that's probably not a very good idea. But people in high school, who knows? They don't care.
Exactly. They turn into engineers as soon as they don't have anything to smoke out of.
Oh, yeah, yeah. It's funny, especially like I've heard stories of people in college who are engineers or who's studying to be engineers, and the things that they come up with on ways to get high are like I've heard some just insane stories about that.
Yeah, I wish my friends were engineers.
Yeah. When you need a way to get high, you will figure it out. There's some way out there. And then so after that experience, were you instantly hooked, or did you try it the next day? Was it a month, year? How did that go?
I don't think I was still living with my mother at the time, who is a very, strict Baptist woman. Okay. So I didn't really do it too much unless I was with my friends from California, because, I knew like they smoked weed their entire life. So I knew they wouldn't like do me wrong or anything like that. And then they actually, got like kicked out of their house, and then they came to live with me, and then I just started smoking more and more and more. And then I was going to school for criminal justice, and I got a job doing security for a dispensary. And that's when I was like, oh, this is awesome. Why am I on this side of the cash register? I want to be on that side of the cash register. So from there was a wrap. It was pretty much, you get a discount on weed, and I was like, getting free samples. So I knew, I was like, this is awesome, and I just want to smoke weed every day, all day.
Yeah, this is the life for you. Yeah. So what happened with that? So you did end up getting to the other side of the register, and how did that go?
So yeah, I got a job interview for this one dispensary, and they were super cool, and I didn't want to do security for them, and I told them that, and they're like, yeah, you can just be a bud tender. And I was like, awesome, done. And I was seeing how much they were getting in tips and stuff like that. So I knew then, I was like, okay, I can really rake this in. This is easy. I'd like to say I'm pretty good at talking people, and especially doing like security and stuff like that. You really, I was very personable. So it was super easy, just because weed, it sells itself.
Oh yeah.
Okay. And literally all I'm doing is just talking to these people, like telling them about my experiences with weed and stuff like that. And they were, they loved it. And that's how I, whenever I am on the register nowadays, I try to bring that back and just like try to make them feel good when they're purchasing weed. Cause I remember the first time I bought it and I was like, this is awesome.
Yeah. So when you first started, how knowledgeable of the subject were you? Did you have to learn a lot, or did you already know a pretty good amount?
I had to learn so much, and I'm still learning. Like, it's still like ever changing, and I'm still just like, luckily I am on the forefront of it. So it's nice to get it while it comes down the pipe. But yeah, I had no idea. I didn't know what concentrates were, had no clue about edibles. I was pretty much just smoking flower. And I was like, I couldn't even roll a joint. I was just smoking out of a bong that I bought. And that was my experience. And it was nice because you'd hear the other bud tenders talk and stuff, and then you'd pick it up, and then you'd get a sample of like a gram of wax. And then all of a sudden you're like, well, what the fuck do I do with this? It's like, do I have to heat this up in a spoon or something? And then my cousin actually showed me how to do a dab. And then from there, I was just like, okay, this is easy. And it's not, when he pulled out the torch, I was instantly like, oh my God, we're about to get wet. We're about to smoke some crack right now. I was so worried. And I was like, Paul, and his dad is a pastor. I'm just like, Paul, buddy, I'm going to call your dad. But then he's like, no, it's THC.
Yeah. And the technology with that, I've heard, has really changed a lot. It's a lot safer than it used to be.
Oh my God, so much safer. Like when I first started in the industry, they still use propane and butane and stuff now, but they were using like propylene glycol and stuff like that to cut the cartridges and stuff with. And that is like, like radiator fluid, so nowadays, it's pretty much all changed. It's like, it's safer, it's cleaner, and I've toured some of the labs that the stuff is made in, and it looks just like a chemistry lab at a college. It's awesome, and it's very cool to see that it's progressing like that, instead of just some guy in his dining room with a Braun water filter, blasting butane through it. So
yeah, it's definitely a good thing when you've got, I think, all of that chemistry and science lab involved in it, and like, okay, this is legit now.
Yeah, I know that I'm definitely not going to die when I smoke this.
Oh yeah, because I don't think a single person has. So when you think about just getting high in general, you look back at your past, however long that is since that first time. Is there a specific story that jumps out at you? Like what's sort of like one of your favorite memories of getting high?
Oh my God, this is a great question. So it wasn't the first time I'd ever gotten high. It was like, it was probably like, I don't know, 5 or 6 times from the first time. And my friends were living at our house in Colorado, and my mom was still there and everything like that. She was still living with us, and we had a party. And we hotboxed our entire house. I think my mom was away visiting my grandma in Minnesota. So we had a party, okay? And I'd never hotboxed anything in my life. And then all of a sudden, my entire house and basement looked like it was on fire. Like, we had smoked so much weed that I'm pretty sure it turned up like the wallpaper, and it was like a huge party, and it was not a big house, and like people were just kept showing up, and I was like, I have no idea who any of these people are. And then like someone threw up in my mom's room.
Oh, jeez.
And I was all like, oh Jesus, and I'm like cleaning up, and it was like the worst. It was like this lady had like chicken Alfredo before she came to the party, and I was like, damn it, and I'm just like cleaning that up. And finally, I was like, I had to kill it. I was like, oh, the cops are on the way. So everybody booked it. Everybody left. And I had to clean the entire house. And I'm just spraying Febreze. I think I spent like $20 on Febreze fabric softener, which I should probably invest in now.
Yeah.
So, and none of my friends were all just playing video games. And I'm like frantically cleaning. And then my mom comes home, and she is like, oh, the house smells good. It looks good. Da, da, da. Didn't know anything. And I'm like, oh, okay, cool. And then I come downstairs, and my friend Tim is smoking a joint on the fucking couch. And I'm like, dude, my mom just got here. And she comes down, and she just lays into Tim, and then lays into me. And I was like, Mom, I don't know what happened. I don't do that stuff. Okay. If I knew he had it, I would have kicked him out. So I got a pretty good lashing. Tim got a pretty good lashing, but my mom took it pretty well. And, I was grounded pretty much, So that was definitely, one of the first times that really stick out about my weed smoking experience.
Yeah, I mean, if he had not had that joint going, you would have gotten off scot-free. Have you since told her that you ended up, like, have you come out with the real story?
Oh yeah. She knows now. Just because, I always thought I could like hide it from my mom, but then she, like, she's not dumb by any means. I don't think any parents are dumb. They know, parents know. Okay. And then, like, I was working in the dispensary, and, I was always just like showing up high to like family functions, and like always had eye drops. And then she's like, Jake, are you smoking weed? And I was like, you know what, Mom, I am smoking weed. And she was like, okay, that's cool. She like teared up a little bit, and I'm like, Mom, but I can stop anytime. Okay. I just don't want to.
Right. Yeah. You're not addicted.
Exactly. And now, she's super receptive of it. I've got her using like CBD lotions and creams and stuff like that. So even the fact that she's even touched any of that stuff was like amazing.
Yeah, it's amazing how people like that, their minds have changed so much in the last 5 or 10 years, because we're seeing this now. The states are legalizing it, and CBD has become, nationwide all over the place, and they're finally realizing that This is not the bad thing that they thought it was. And you know, she probably also saw that once she realized that you had been doing this for a long time, and also realized that you were a fully functioning adult and it wasn't affecting you, that, okay, yeah, it's fine that he does this.
Exactly. And I told her, I was like, Mom, I've been smoking for at least a year or two now. And she's like, I just could never tell. And I'm just like, yeah, Mom, because I'm not like my cousin. When he smokes, oh my God, he's a goof. Okay. You can definitely tell he's high. But you know, when I was smoking, you couldn't tell. Like I was just more, you know, I was in a better mood, you know, I was more upbeat, I was positive, you know, really having, you know, it was kind of like an antidepressant for me. You know what I mean? So that was the nicest part. And you know, I didn't have to take any pills. So that was the nicest part of it.
Yeah. That's a huge thing, obviously. I mean, that actually comes up quite a bit in my interviews, that it's just, you feel better, and that there's nothing wrong with that.
Exactly. And it's not like I don't have to be, I haven't gotten to the point where I need it as like a prescription or anything like that. That, you know, I'm doing pretty well, you know, self-medicating. So, and that's, you know, what I always liked. I'm not a big fan of doctors or hospitals. So, you know, I think eventually, you know, I think I would have found cannabis, but I'm glad I was introduced to it when I was. You know, I wasn't super young. I wasn't super old. I think I was perfect time.
Yeah. You know, in terms of doctors, cannabis isn't going to help you with your broken leg, but it's going to help you with a whole bunch of other things, that's for sure.
Exactly. Yeah, and I think more people are starting to realize that. And, you know, I love seeing at work when the older generation comes in and, you know, you can tell who's been smoking, or someone who's just like, yo, I need this for pain management. And then, you know, that's actually a super rewarding part of the job for sure.
Yeah, that's been really cool to see a lot of the older people coming in who have stayed away from it for all these years, and they're now like, well, you know, hey, it's now legal in my state. I should give this a shot and see what all the fuss is about. I know some people who are around my age, and I'm like, you live in this legal state. You should probably give it a shot.
Yeah, I mean, and that's the thing. Like, you can go to your doctor and everything like that, and then pay for your, you know, your health plan and your health insurance and all that stuff, which is totally fine. Or you could go to the dispensary down the block and possibly get the same relief.
Oh, yeah. And, you know, not get addicted to opioid pills or something like that.
Exactly.
Yeah. So
exactly.
For you, these days, do you have a preferred method of intake?
Well, I usually used to be just a flower guy. You know, I'd like to think of myself as I was a purist, and, you know, I just like smoking flower, you know, something about it. I learned how to roll joints, learned how to roll blunts. So that was the nice thing. And I just liked that the most. But, with COVID and everything like that, you know, I have done the, you know, the wax, the shatters, the live resins, everything like that before. But like I said, I just preferred flower. So now, since, you know, COVID is kind of, you know, kept us inside and everything like that, and I don't have to, you know, go out and try to act normal. I've been smoking so much concentrates now. Now it's like, you know, 2 grams in a week. So, you know, I think after COVID, I'll probably, you know, go back to like doing flower and concentrates, but as of lately, it's just been concentrates.
Yeah, this year is sort of everything's out the window in terms of what's normal for us.
Oh, exactly. And I feel like that's totally acceptable. You know what I mean? I'm like, COVID has rewritten the rules, and you know, to me, before I would get high and then I'd go out and like do my thing, but now it's like, I understand why people get high and just want to stay home. Like, yeah. It's great. It's a great feeling.
So, I mean, it sounds like you smoke quite a bit. Is there a number? Is it once a day? It sounds like it's more than once a week. How often is it?
So, Monday through Friday, when I have to work and stuff like that, I don't smoke until about 4:30 p.m. Okay. Just because, I'm the general manager, so I got to like always be on point and everything like that for work. But then as soon as I get off and you'll have some time, I'll smoke then. And it's, I don't know, probably 2 or 3 times before bed. And then, the weekends, it's as soon as I wake up at 7:30, it's a dab. And then it's pretty much, dabs and joints throughout the day on the weekends.
Yep. And then, so what's you must have a pretty high tolerance. Do you ever make a point to take a tolerance break at some point in the year or a month or something?
So what I'll do is I will drop back down to flower. So I won't smoke any concentrates or anything like that. And then I'll just smoke flower. And then after about a month is the longest I've gone without, really chiefing. But my tolerance has definitely gotten much higher. Like,
oh yeah,
it used to be before I would just do a little tiny dab, and then I would just be like, "Oh man, my heart's racing. I feel like I'm gonna have a heart attack." That it was like too high. But now it's just like, I just smoked. I'm just gonna smoke again. So, yeah, the concentrates. If you're definitely, if you're looking for. If you want to be like super, super high, super fast, concentrates is definitely the way to go.
All right. And so, this is obviously a thing that you do every day, multiple times a day. The weekends, it's all day. What is it that you like about it in a very general sense?
To me, it almost just makes me feel, I don't know, I definitely feel happier and stuff like that. But it's kind of like the feeling, I don't know, of like 2006, you know what I mean? Where life was good, you didn't have any worries in the world. You were able to play video games all day with your friends. You were doing hood rat shit and hooligan stuff. And, that's what it kind of reminds me of. We weren't on like, a brink of society collapse and everything like that. And, there wasn't a pandemic going on. So I think that's probably why I like smoking weed the most, is just because it reminds me for some reason of a simpler time, back when I was, a happy, carefree kid.
Yeah, I like that answer. I don't think I've heard one quite like that. And it's sort of like you said, a simpler time. Do you feel like, would another way to put it would be sort of like, back to your younger years where you don't have as much responsibility and it's really just about a feeling of just fun and being carefree?
Definitely. And, I like to work when I'm high as well. It's just, I'm such a perfectionist that I don't want to chance making any mistakes, know? So I try to keep it minimal when I'm working. I mean, maybe on a lunch break we'll go chief and everything, but it just makes me feel, like you said, carefree.
Yeah, nice. Well, on that note, we are actually going to start to get into some of the specifics. So that's the very general sense on a very high level, pun intended. So what about your level of focus? I don't know if you've ever thought about things like this, but how do you think your level of focus changes when you get high?
Oh, so I feel like I have much more, like I have spider sense, it's always tingling, and I'm definitely a lot more focused. And if I have to drive somewhere or something like that, I'm always like, I feel like I'm the perfect driver. Like I wrote the book in driver's ed. Like I got 100% on my driver's quiz, and I'm just like, that person just took an illegal turn or something like that. So I definitely feel like I'm more precise, even though I'm probably just a walking buffoon, you know?
That's the thing. It's hard to know, there's what you feel, and then there's the reality of the situation, and which is it. And sometimes what you feel is real, but sometimes it's not. And I don't know. I mean, I've definitely heard a lot of people have similar statements about driving specifically. That's definitely one that, you need to have a lot of focus to drive well. And when you're drunk, you don't drive like you should, and you are not focused. I mean, I literally saw a drunk driver. I assume he was drunk. I don't know what not drunk person would have driven like this, and just slammed into another car. But yeah, when people are high and they're driving, there's just a different level of focus. So I think that there is some reality to that feeling, whether or not it's 100%, I don't know. But any other thoughts about just your focus being different?
Well, and then there's times where if I don't have to do anything and I can be lazy, it's just like, I'm going to melt into this couch. It's that type of high. And then I have no focus. And then I'm just like, what do I do? Like, what am I going to do today? I'm just going to keep smoking weed today, I think. So, I mean, it's definitely, I don't feel like I have to like turn it off and on, I just feel like it can change in an instant too. So that's nice.
Yeah. And I mean, if you've got a day where you literally have nothing you have to do, then why not? Why not sit there and have no focus?
Exactly.
Yeah. And so sort of relatedly, what is your sense of time like when you get high?
The day definitely goes faster. Definitely goes faster. And I don't know if it's just because that's like maybe a weekend thing, it's never enough weekend.
Oh yeah.
When you have it. But, I'd like to say that, I do tend to lose track of time. So I will set alarms. Like I will make sure that, if I have to do something or I have to like think about doing something, I'm going to set an alarm and a reminder that, oh, hey, you got to do this one thing at this time. But other than that, I don't think I lose. I don't think I'd like to say I don't lose track of time, but I definitely do. Definitely do.
Yeah. So time seems to speed up. It's when you're not doing anything, when you're just enjoying the day and possibly falling asleep. I could see the day going by pretty quickly.
Yeah, and then you're just like, well, I'm super high. I'm going to take a nap. And then you have a great nap, for like an hour and a half. I'm convinced that like an hour and a half is the perfect nap time. You wake up and it's like, still got some day left to enjoy.
Yep. Gonna smoke another joint and take another nap probably.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
Nice. So again, sort of on that same track of things, how do you think your memory is when you get high?
So inherently, I have a terrible memory.
Just anyway.
Terrible. Just anyway, without marijuana, my memory is shot, and I get it from my mother. But I always have to write things down or make a note of it. I don't think weed really affects my memory just because. Okay, I can't say that. I can definitely say I can forget like things that I've done already that day. Like if Haley comes home from work on the weekend and she's like, "Oh, what did you do today?" It takes me a minute to think. I'm like, "Fuck, what did I do today?" Oh yeah, okay. I did this. I did do something. I wasn't just sitting here the whole day. So maybe little micro forgets, we can call them.
Okay, and it sounds like it's not. It's maybe more of the genetics that you're having a bad memory. Partly the weed, but it's mostly genetics.
Yeah, I definitely don't think the weed helps.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's definitely my mother passed this trait to me, and yeah, it's the one negative trait she passed me is not because she has a terrible memory, terrible, and now I can just see like, man, I'm starting to forget things like. it's getting bad now, Ma. I understand.
Right. Yeah. I mean, with age, that's usually comes anyway. So good luck with that.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm hoping there's some sort of cannabinoid that will improve memory down the line.
Yeah. I mean, we have a ton of research left to do. So you never know. I would not be surprised if people start breeding plants like that.
Exactly. And, here in Colorado, they're already, breeding plants that have THC and CBN, which is, the cannabinoid that's really good for sleep. So, I'm sure it's going to, like I said, these people are coming in to grow this, they're growing this weed, but, they have chemistry degrees and stuff like that. So, it changed from how we were consuming 5 years ago to today, and in another 5 years, it's gonna be another completely different time.
Yeah, it's gonna be so different. I think about the future and how everything changes constantly. I think about that a lot, and in the moment, you think like, oh, well, this is now, and this is how it's gonna be all the time. But yeah, like you said, if you look back 5 years. Just in the cannabis world, I mean, not just in your life and the whole world in general, but just in cannabis, it's a whole different world. And so what is another 5 years going to be like? Things are constantly changing, and you can't avoid that, and you need to kind of embrace it. And so, I'm really excited to see what the future brings, especially with that. So did you say that the cannabinoid was CBN for sleep?
Yep. Mm-hmm. So CBN is going to be your cannabinoid that is going to, really help you relax the most to get a full REM cycle. And that's what's going to help you with your sleep the most. It's going to be that CBN. CBD is good for the pain management and everything like that. But CBN, and people are starting to put a lot more CBN into edibles and tinctures and stuff of that nature. So, CBN's the next one, and I'm excited to see like what cannabinoid they're gonna start picking out next.
Yeah, I mean, I know there's at least 100, if not hundreds of them, and our knowledge of that is going to change. I'm super excited to see more with CBN specifically, and just all the knowledge that's coming out of the research that we're doing. That's really that's going to be really fun. So maybe they'll find a cannabinoid that is specifically related to creativity. Probably not. But that's my transition into my next question. How do you think your creativity is changed when you get high?
Oh my gosh. I'm a freaking Picasso. Okay. Like I'm not good with like art and stuff like that. But when I'm high, I come up with really good ideas for some reason. And they're ideas like, oh, it'd be really good in that location. Man, that'd be a cool walk-up restaurant where a bunch of food trucks just sit and da-da-da. They're like, they're not like the best ideas, but they are creative. I'll give myself that.
Yes. Yeah, so they are ideas. They are creative ideas, and it sounds like you probably have more of them when you get high. But the jury is still out on whether or not they're good ideas.
Yes, and if I don't write them down, my mother's memory will forget them.
Oh yeah, very common occurrence. And so, have you ever actually been able to create any of these ideas? Have you ever tried to make one of these things happen?
So, a lot of it has come around from my job. So, it will come to me in the form of like, oh, we should do this for our advertising. That way we can hit this demographic of people, and we're going to see a higher amount of sales this quarter. So, and it's usually on the weekend when I have these ideas, and they're pretty work focused, I would say. And I don't know why I'm like this. I don't want to think about work on my weekends, and it just happens. And I'm just like, oh, we should do this, or we should, make this cool packaging to go with this or something like that. So I think that's where my creativity generally goes. And other times I'm just like, oh, Haley, you should paint a Psyduck doing this, and then she's like, that's a good idea.
Yeah, I understand the feeling of not wanting to think about work when you're not at work and when when it's the weekend. But the difference with you is that your job is cannabis, and that's the thing that you like. You spend your free time enjoying it, and so your work already is different than the vast majority of all of our work. So first of all, I'm very jealous of that. But it's, so, it's no wonder that you're going to think about work in your free time because you're getting high and that is directly related to your job. And if you think of good ideas to make your job better and to bring in more money and to make people happier, then that's just going to have a benefit to you as well. So, that's pretty awesome.
Exactly. And it's definitely, and the way I'd thought about it before I really got into the cannabis industry, I was like, I was having a hard time, like, man, is this something that I want to do? Can I make a career out of this? And then, 6 months of just bud tending, they gave me the keys to the store to be a manager. And I was like, okay, well, that was kind of quick. You don't know me that well, but I'm going to do a good job. I'm going to do my best, 100%. And then another 6 months happened, and then they sent me to another town in Colorado to open a full dispensary, and I was like, holy shit, okay, I got to be doing something right here. And then 6 months after that, they sent me to another spot, and I helped open another one for them. So, and then, it wasn't until they were going to send me down to help open that first store that it really, in my head, was like, okay, like, I'm going to focus all my time on this. This is going to be my career. This is something I can do with relative ease, and I can smoke weed and be fine all day. So that was, that's the nicest part about the industry, is just being able to, do something you love and also get a discount on it.
Yeah, I think Haley was saying that you'll bring back samples or various things, and she gets to try it all.
Oh yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah. Anytime there's, like, I am not an edible person. Okay. I'm kind of a bigger guy. And so, when you consume edibles, they kind of like attach to your fat cells. So 10 milligrams to me, I'm just like, I am higher than a giraffe stick. I'm so high. And she will take like 30, 40 milligrams and just be fine. And I'm just like, who are you?
Huh. That's interesting because, I guess there's a difference between like height and your weight, but I always thought that if you're a bigger person that you actually need a little bit more, but you're saying that if you have more, I guess, fat on your body that the edible will actually affect you more so?
So it attaches to your like fat lipids, and then it just sticks around longer.
Oh.
So like I said, 10 milligrams to me will last, and I believe this could also be genetic. I have a horrible metabolism. Okay. So I'm sure that breaks down the edible even slower, and then it's sucked onto, your fat cells and everything like that. So then it's like you are nuclear high for about 2 hours, unless you drink a bunch of water. Okay. So, and that's just my experience with edibles. I don't really like edibles, but when you get free marijuana, it's like, all right.
Yeah, you're not going to turn that down.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's really interesting. Okay, I'll have to think about that. So let's see. So some of the other things that I like to ask about, music is one of them. First of all, do you play music, or are you more of a music listener?
I'm more of a listener.
Okay.
I played like trumpet in high school band, but that was about it.
Yeah.
I wasn't even very good at that. The only reason I was in band was because we got to go on cool field trips.
Yeah.
So that was nice.
Yeah, I was in band for many, many years, so I know all about what you're talking about.
Yeah, and their excuses to like get out of class and everything like that. And then I was like, hell yeah, I want to do that. And I picked the easiest instrument to learn. So, but as far as music goes, I have super weird tastes. Like, and definitely I have different moods. Like if I'm smoking a joint or a blunt, I tend to listen to like rap, like Devin the Dude or Mac Dre and stuff like that, like older cannabis artists. And then if I'm playing video games and smoking weed, I'm listening to a lot more of like EDM stuff, more to like get into the mood of the video game and stuff like that. And the marijuana, like it definitely intensifies it. And, it you kind of get into a mood and your vibe. If your vibe is right, it's going to definitely enhance the high.
So we are going to end part 1 there. Thank you very much for listening. Make sure that you check out part 2 so you can hear the rest of Jake's story next week. And of course, if this is after part 2 has aired, then you can just binge them both together. So yes, as usual, please rate and review and subscribe and share. Please let other people know about this. I am starting to get these episodes up on a website called theweedtube.com. It's like YouTube for cannabis-related things because I know that a lot of other cannabis-related content tends to get deleted or marked as, adult in some way. I can't think of the word. It's marked, and people, it's hard to get your cannabis content out there. I think a lot of things are just blocked as well. So, you can go check these out on in a video format with just the logo on theweedtube.com. And also, I should mention that I recently got a new review. This was on December 22nd, so I'm a little bit late. This is from Def Clap. And it's just called Amazing, 5 stars. What a great podcast. It's always great to hear others who are 420 friendly and their experiences while stoned. Spencer navigates the interview so smoothly, and it seems effortless. So thank you for that. That's awesome. I really appreciate that. So I hope that you writer of the review and everybody else, go listen and listen to more and tell other people about it. All right, I've talked enough. Thank you very much for listening. And until next time, this is Spencer and somebody else talking about what it's like to be high.
Spencer is going to call me here shortly. Super nervous.